What is the pleasure of the majority floor leader?
Mr. President, upon conferment with the minority leader, Mr. President, he is amenable, Mr. President, for us to continue with the discussions and debate on this particular topic, Mr. President. And so with that, Mr. President, may I move that we recognize the distinguished gentleman from Cavite, Senator Panfilo Lacson, to ask his questions, Mr. President.
Well, first, Chair would like to thank the
Thank you,
magnanimity
Mr.
of the distinguished minority floor leader in order for us to be able to continue with the debates. The gentleman from Cavite, Senator Lacson, is recognized for his interjections with leave, of course, of the gentleman who has the floor, Senator Marcoleta. You may proceed, sir, if Senator Marcoleta so desires.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is not an interpellation. Rather, this is a manifestation to be followed by a parliamentary inquiry.
The gentleman may proceed then.
Mr. President, I've been diligently reading and reviewing the rules of the Senate since I've been out of this august chamber for 3 years. Nowhere in our rules can I find a provision on a motion to dismiss, as submitted by the honorable gentleman from Tarlac. Neither is there a supplementary application of the rules of court to offer a space for such motion to dismiss, except perhaps in the committees performing their legislative inquiries in aid of legislation. Obviously, we are now assembled in plenary, not as an impeachment court, but as a legislative body, and I cannot relate to a motion in this plenary to an issue that involves a collective decision that falls solely and exclusively under the jurisdiction and authority of an impeachment court. Having said that, Mr. President, my parliamentary inquiry is addressed, of course, to the Senate President. Mr. President, how do we deal with the pending motion? I refer to the motion to dismiss. Shall we even take it up or deal with it? Kasi wala po sa rules natin. Paano wala tayo pong guidelines? Kasi wala po sa rules natin yung motion to dismiss. So anong guidelines ang susundin natin in addressing the motion to dismiss submitted by the Honorable Marcoleta? Assuming arguendo, Mr. President, that the motion is voted upon and adopted by this body, what if, Mr. President, the Supreme Court reverses itself when it rules on the MR filed by the House of Representatives through the Solgen? Shall we also backtrack and reverse ourselves in dismissing the impeachment case? I pose that question, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Lacson. To respond, we were faced with this question, but the very people asking us to wait right now were the very same people who were telling us before to ignore the pendency of a case in the Supreme Court precisely regarding this impeachment complaint. They were egging the Senate, even if we were on recess, to precisely proceed with the trial in spite and despite the pendency of cases in the Supreme Court. And the chair, with an abundance of caution, same with us good senator right now, decided to afford the Supreme Court time during the recess to decide on the matter. And when they did not, the Senate, in accordance with its duty, convened the impeachment court when we resumed session, given that we cannot conduct impeachment proceedings that have not yet begun yet during the recess. To answer the query with respect to motion to dismiss, this was actually done, although not via a motion to dismiss, but a motion to archive in relation to the impeachment complaints of then President Estrada and Ombudsman Gutierrez. In fact, in the case of Ombudsman Gutierrez, it was our distinguished minority floor leader himself, acting as majority leader, I believe, who moved that the case be archived, given the resignation of then Ombudsman Gutierrez for being moot. In the case of President Estrada, the case was likewise archived for being functus officio, given that EDSA DOS happened and a new president was sworn into office. Your Honor, I believe the chair believes that we will have different interpretations of the effect of the Supreme Court decision. But ultimately, as I discussed with the majority leader earlier, once a decision is made by the Senate and the period to seek a reconsideration of that decision put to a vote has expired, the next logical step would be to archive so that it will be made part of our records. It is the position of the chair, subject to the wisdom of the plenary, Your Honor, that given the Supreme Court decision that the Senate never acquired jurisdiction over it, that the proceedings and the articles of impeachment were null and void ab initio. Indeed, there might not even be anything to dismiss, and the procedure would be more properly to archive, similar to what we have done in the past, so that these proceedings will still be made part of the Senate's records. But we will cross that bridge once we put it to a vote, Mr. President.
I go
Your
back
Honor.
to my previous question, Mr. President. Anong gagawin natin sa motion to dismiss? How do we deal with it?
May
We
I
are in
answer,
plenary
Mr.
as a legislative body. We're not an impeachment court. So yun ang tanong ko po, Mr. President. Yun ang essence ng aking parliamentary inquiry.